Welcome to your Yin yoga practice this evening. We're going to concentrate a lot tonight on the muscles around the neck and the shoulders and a little bit of the spine as well. So we're going to give that upper body some love tonight. So please feel free to obviously take some options. I will show you some of those things. It is very handy to have a yoga block as well as a blanket or a pillow or a yoga bolster with you. Whatever you have, grab that and bring it on over to your mat, and we'll all meet over on our mat. So we're going to begin tonight sitting in easy seated pose. If that means you need to sit on a block or a blanket under the hips, then please feel free to do so. We're going to sit it up nice and tall and just take a couple of shoulder rolls back and down. And then go ahead, settle those shoulders down, ground down through those sit bones. Close the eyes, and we're just going to begin to take some belly breathing. Imagine there's a straw from the back of the nose all the way down into the belly. And as you inhale through the nose, that air travels all the way down the straw into the belly and inflates the belly. And as you exhale, the belly deflates, the air draws back up through the straw and out the nose. Inhale, and as you draw that breath into that belly, let the belly soften and expand. Exhale as it deflates. Just bringing your attention to the breath, letting everything else from the outside world, from your day, just let it fall away. Letting that breath allow you to let go of the day-to-day. Leaving behind where you've come from, not worrying about anything after this. Just allowing yourself to be here and now. I invite you to use that breath today and tonight during practice to just be able to guide yourself into the present moment. Our mind will wander, and that's completely natural. The practice of staying present is being able to recognize when it does wander. Just be able to bring it back, rein it back into this present moment. Go ahead, tuck the chin towards the chest ever so slightly. Just begin to flutter the eyes open as you focus on the floor in front of you. And then lifting the chin level with the floor. We're going to go ahead and take our left hand and we're going to place it on the side of the head and gently drop our left ear down towards the left shoulder. You can play with this a little as you find that stretch that works, perhaps as you tilt the chin up towards the ceiling a little bit. Or perhaps even dropping the chin down towards the armpit a little. Find your edge as you begin to really find that wall of tension. Finding that part that you can rest into. You can be comfortable with being uncomfortable here a little bit. Never any pain, but we need to lean into that resistance in order to fully get our benefits out of our yin practice and these yin poses. We're going going to hold each posture tonight for a minimum of 2 minutes. Closing the eyes and just using the weight of the hand on the head, no pulling or extra stress. As we begin to feel that right side of the neck. So we find that edge. We find stillness. And then we hold. It's a great pose to really work on that tension that builds up in the neck and shoulders. If you've got a lot of tech neck and you're at the computer a lot during the day. And gently release the hand from the head. I'd like you to roll that chin around to the center of the chest, gently, 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 and then go ahead and bring that head back up to level. We're going to work on the other side as we take the right hand, place it on the left side of the head, and gently drop that right ear to the right shoulder. Relax that left shoulder down. Again, you can play with the chin here. If you want to tilt it up towards the ceiling, just a tad. You'll start to feel that more in the front of the neck. Perhaps you want to go ahead and maybe ease into it with the chin more towards the armpit if you really want to hit more towards the side or back of the neck. Find your resistance, that wall of resistance, leaning into it. Finding your breath. We don't want to push through that wall, we just want to lean into it. So you can gently feel that stretch. We can start to work on all those soft tissues, the connective tissue and the fascia that surrounds all the muscles. As we come out of these postures today, you might notice that you feel a little stiff, maybe even a little sore. So remember to come out of each posture slowly. And when you're ready, just releasing that hand from the head, rolling that chin around to the front of the chest ever so slowly. Go ahead and bring the head back up, chin level with the floor. We're going to take a front stretch here as we stretch out the back of the neck. We're going to place the hands behind the head, just interlacing the fingers. And then we're just going to gently, again, just using the weight of the hands, we're going to bring the chin down towards the chest. And just use those hands on the back of the head. Just as a little extra resistance. Checking back in with your breath. Noticing if there's any points that you're holding the breath. Try to really keep that even flow of inhales and exhales. even though we find stillness in these postures, I want you to always make adjustments if you need to. If you need to lean into the resistance a little bit more, if you need to find a little bit more resistance. Or maybe you might need to back off of something a little bit. So feel free, even though part of Yin Yoga is to find that stillness, you're more than welcome to make adjustments and then settle back into your posture. Gently releasing the hands first, and then slowly rolling the head back up. Perhaps you want to take a couple of shoulder rolls here, whatever feels good. And then we're going to make our way onto our hands and knees. So coming onto your hands and knees, nice and slowly. We're just going to keep the knees underneath the hips and the wrists underneath the shoulders. We're going to spread those fingers nice and wide for some cat-cows. If this is a little difficult on the wrists, feel free to make fists so that you can keep the wrist a little bit more neutral. On your inhale, let's drop the belly, lift the tailbone, and lift the collarbones and the heart center forward. And on your exhale, let's draw the belly button to the spine, round the back into our cat pose. Inhale again as we move through this about 5 times. Exhale into your cat. Inhale to your cow. Broaden those collarbones. Exhale into your cat. Couple of more. See if you can really feel that spine undulate between your cat and your cow. And when you're ready, coming back to tabletop, take a moment here in your tabletop. And then go ahead and grab your block. We're going to make our way into hero pose, and you may need a block to do this. So we're going to keep the knees a little closer as we sit back between the heels. So if this is comfortable for you to come down, to sit those sit bones down between the feet, then go ahead. If not, grab your blanket, your bolster, whatever you need to do to lift those hips up. We're going to be here for a little bit. If this is at all uncomfortable on the knees, feel free to sit in easy Sukhasana or seated pose. We're going to take a little eagle arms here. So we're going to take the arms out to the sides. And I want you to go ahead and wrap your right arm under your left into eagle arms. If this doesn't work for you, feel free to take that right arm across the chest and use the other arm either below or above the elbow to pull it in towards the chest. So you have a couple of options. Find what works for you. Go ahead and close the eyes. And just find your breath. Slow your heart rate down. As you breathe evenly, inhales and exhales. See if you can relax the shoulders down away from the ears. See if you can maybe lift those elbows a little higher in line with the shoulders. Maybe you can press those forearms a little bit more towards the front of your mat. Again, finding your edge. As you begin to feel that stretch through the upper back, through the backs of the shoulders. Again, if you're feeling any pain or discomfort, adjust the posture. Take the other option that I've just shown you. This is a hard one with the shoulders. Shoulders tend to be very tight. Shoulders and hips. See if you can sit it up a little taller. And when you're ready, go ahead and gently unwinding those arms and just let them float down to the sides for a moment. And then when you're ready, float the arms back up to shoulder height. This time left arm goes under right into your eagle arms. If again this doesn't work, go ahead, stretch that left arm across the chest and use your right arm to gently pull it in towards the chest, closing the eyes, relaxing the shoulders and the shoulder blades down the back. Finding your breath. Nice work, everyone. And when you're ready, go ahead again, gently and slowly unwinding those arms out to the sides. And then just let them float down nice and slowly to the side body. Take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. You can stay here in hero pose if you like. Or if you want, you can remove any blocks or any bolsters you have. Bring the feet together and just go ahead and sit back onto the heels. Or if just seated pose works for you, that's fine too. We're just going to take some work on the wrists here. So you're going to bring your hands up in front of you, making some nice light fists. And I just want you to go ahead and circle your wrists one way 8 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we're going to go back the opposite way. 8 circles. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Go ahead and just open those fists a few times as you stretch the fingers. Good. And release. We're going to come up onto the hands and knees. And we're going to place our hands down on the mat with the fingers facing out to the sides of your mat. And we're just going to go ahead, open up the knees a little bit, just kind of sway from side to side. A few times here as we stretch out the wrists. Keeping the weight Gently over the hands, not putting too much pressure into the wrists. Just giving a gentle stretch. And then when you're ready, come back to center. We're going to go ahead and turn our fingers back towards our knees. And if you need to go ahead and open the knees really wide here and sit back a little bit to take some pressure off of those wrists, feel free. And we're just going to go ahead and kind of rock forward and back. Really important to keep those hands and fingers and wrists healthy. Our hands age like the rest of our body. We want to keep them flexible and strong. And when you're ready, gently, let's just pick those hands up and turn them back around, fingers to face forward, just for a moment. And then let's take that left hand, place the back of the hand onto the mat with the fingers facing towards that left knee. And again, just a little gentle rock and roll here. Just working on the forearm a little bit. See if you can feel a little bit of pressure as you press down through your thumb and your baby finger on that left side. And go ahead and gently release. Place that left hand down. Go ahead and flip that right hand, back of the hand to the mat, fingers towards or facing that right knee. And again, some gentle rock and rolls forward and back. Being careful here with the wrists, not putting too much pressure on them. Just gently bringing some synovial fluid to those joints, especially around the wrist. Good work. And gently releasing that right hand. Just place it down, fingers forward for a moment. And we're going to go ahead and take it to a thread the needle for the upper back and shoulders. See if you can keep those hips high and keep the hips stacked over the knees as much as possible. We're going to start by reaching that left arm forward. We're going to thread the right arm underneath that left armpit as we work that right shoulder down towards the floor, and then perhaps releasing the right side of the head. You can go ahead and maybe walk those left fingertips a little further forward. As we take a few moments here. Just closing the eyes. Turning your attention inward. You begin to feel that resistance, leaning into it slightly. You need to have that resistance in order to make those changes in the muscle and the fascia, the connective tissue. So lean into it a little bit, find your edge. few more breaths here. At any time, the knees, maybe you need a little extra padding, you can always grab your blanket, roll up an extra mat. You can also use the block to rest the side of the head. And ever so slowly, let's draw that left hand back first towards that right elbow. And then nice and slowly pick up the head and the arm as we come back to center and tabletop position. Let's go ahead and switch it to the other side. Perhaps walking those right fingertips forward, extending the right arm. And then when you're ready, threading that left arm through and over towards the right side of the mat as we rest that right shoulder down onto the mat. And then go ahead and perhaps use the block to rest the right side of the left side of the head, or you can take the head down to the mat. Using your props, making these postures accessible. Don't forget the breath. The breath will help to guide the posture, help to guide the resistance, and help to settle the mind. A few more breaths here, continuing to find that resistance, to lean into it. And slowly, when you're ready, drawing that right hand back towards the left elbow, pressing gently into that right hand as you thread that left arm back and out and place that left hand down on the mat. Moving into melting heart pose. So again, keeping those hips high and over the knees. We're going to start to walk the hands forward. Now this is a little bit of a deeper stretch through the shoulders, and it may not be completely accessible to come down with the forehead to the mat. Feel free to grab a block, a pillow, a blanket, whatever you have. If you want to rest the forehead down on that. Just make sure that your neck is relaxed. And go ahead and see if you can release the arms onto the mat. Let those forearms settle down. And see if you can make those armpits nice and heavy towards the mat. Good. Good work, everyone. And remembering to make any adjustments you need to. And then settle back in, find your edge. Find stillness. And then slowly to come out of this posture, I always like to lift the forehead and just transfer the weight forward a little bit onto the forearms. Take some pressure off of those shoulders. And then go ahead and gently help yourself up to tabletop. We're going to come around and sit down into easy seated pose. As we again cross the legs, if you need to go ahead, use your blanket or your block under the hips. Those shoulders and neck should be feeling a little looser through the upper back as well. And we're going to take an easy seated twist. So we're going to take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. And as we exhale, let's go ahead and take the right arm behind us, fingertips in line with your right sit bone, left hand on top of your right knee. Inhale again, lengthen through the spine, draw the belly in, and as you exhale, add a little twist as you use that right hand to pull, or that left hand, my apologies, against the right knee, to gently pull yourself around, using the core, the whole belly, back, all up through the lower ribs as you turn and twist. And then perhaps you have a little extra movement. You can work through the ribs and through the chest. And then turning, if it feels comfortable, gazing over the right shoulder. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you soften into your twist. Find that breath. Notice those inhales, how the spine gets a little taller. And exhaling as you soften, maybe find a little bit more range of motion in your twist. Slowly as we begin to unwind, we unwind from the neck first, followed by the chest, the ribs, and the belly, and the low back. Again, inhale. Exhale the left hand back now behind you. Right hand on top of the left knee. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you twist to the left. Working through the core, through the belly and the low back first. Perhaps then adding on through the ribs and the chest with a little gaze over the left shoulder. Keeping those shoulders relaxed. Keeping the shoulder blades on the back. Gently starting to unwind from the neck first, followed by the chest, the ribs, and the belly and core. Good work. Take a breath here and exhale it out. Good. Let's make our way into our caterpillar pose. So we're going to go ahead and extend the legs forward. Again, if you find that this is a little bit more difficult for you here, a little bit more challenging, then grab a blanket, place it underneath the hips, just to prop yourself up a little. We're going to go ahead and just kind of roll from side to side as we kind of peel a little bit of the flesh away from our sit bones. And you can keep the knees soft and bent here if you like. We're going to take an inhale, lengthen the spine. And as we exhale, we're going to hip hinge forward, bringing the chest towards those shins, heart center towards the ankles. You can rest the hands on the shins or on the floor beside you. Perhaps making peace fingers around the toes is accessible to you. Again, take an inhale, lengthen, and as you exhale, go ahead and just allow yourself to fold over those legs. And just being careful here if you have any spine issues or any discomfort in that low back. Go ahead, bring yourself up a little further. Perhaps even if you want to rest the neck a little bit and allow a little tension to come out of the neck. You can always use a block on the shins to rest the forehead. Or even if you have a pillow or a yoga bolster, you can always lay that on the legs as well to rest the arms. Taking some tension out of the low back and the upper neck. Always choosing your options so that you can find your edge. Lengthening out the back of the legs through the hamstrings, through the spine. This one is really good from the bottom of the spine right up to the top of the spine. Notice if you're gripping anywhere or holding tension in the face. Try to ease out of the posture a little bit, soften the face, soften the muscles around the eyes and the mouth. Soften the jaw. And slowly to come out of this, gently start to roll yourself up the spine, nice and slowly stacking one vertebrae on top of the other. As you come to sit up nice and tall, go ahead, place your hands behind you and set your feet on the mat, opening the feet a little wider. We're just going to go ahead and take some windshield wiper washes with those legs as we gently take them from side to side a couple of times. Good work. And bringing it back to center. We're going to roll ourselves onto our backs, grabbing your block if you have that handy. As we come down, we're going to take a supported bridge pose. So I'm going to have you just press into the feet, lift the hips, and And just slide the block underneath so that you support the low back and the sacrum. The tailbone should just be off the edge of the block. So we don't want the block up high into the low back or the upper back so that we end up creating a big arch. We want to support that sacrum area, the back of the hips. You can keep the block on its lowest level. If you want to play with that a little bit and you want to adjust it a little higher, feel free. See if you can rest the back of the head, release the shoulders. Go ahead, release the hands, palms up to the ceiling. Just adding a little bit of a baby inversion here. See if you can feel a little bit more opening through the chest as you relax those shoulders down onto the mat. Broaden those collarbones. You can resist the urge to fidget. See if you can find that stillness physically and mentally. Out of this posture, just gently pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up ever so slightly, enough to just slide your yoga prop out from beneath the hips and release those hips back down onto the mat. We're going to take a gentle spinal twist here. I want you to go ahead and release the right leg all the way out. We're going to tuck the right hip ever so slightly underneath us. And then draw that left knee over to the right side of the mat. You can go ahead and rest your left foot on top of that right inner thigh. Release the left arm out to the side and work that left shoulder blade back down. An option here for you tonight if you want to take it a little further. You can always go ahead and bend that right knee, bringing that right heel back towards the butt cheeks. Reach back with that left hand, grab hold of those right toes into our cattail pose. Using that left hand to grab hold of those right toes, pointing that right knee down towards the front edge of your mat, feeling a little bit more opening in the front of that right thigh, maybe up through that right hip flexor a little bit. Still working that left shoulder blade back down. Your choice, your practice. Wherever you can find your wall of resistance, find that, lean into it. See if you can find a little stillness. As much as we have resistance in these postures, see if you can also learn to soften a little bit into the postures. of this. Just release your right toes if you have them. Extend your right leg back out, and then gently rolling yourself back onto your back. Center your hips, work those shoulder blades out. Go ahead and bend your right knee. Extend your left leg out, this time tucking the left hip as you draw that right knee across the body, releasing that right foot on top of that left inner thigh, extending that right arm out. Go ahead, stay here in your spinal twist. Or if you're working it towards cattail again, bending that left foot back, grab hold of the left toes with the right hand this time. And then see if you can work that left knee, point it down to the front edge of your mat. Working that right shoulder blade down onto the mat as much as you can. And settling into your posture here. And noticing if you're holding any tension through the shoulders or the face. See if you can soften a little bit. Awesome work, ladies. Good job for showing up here tonight and giving yourself this gift of self-care. And slowly to come out of this, go ahead and extend that left leg if it's not already. And then gently roll yourself onto your back. If you like to take those knees in towards the chest, maybe give yourself a little rock and roll from side to side. Massage out the low back. And then find your corpse pose or shavasana as you extend your legs. Allow those feet to fall away from one another as you completely relax the legs and the hips. Maybe working those shoulder blades down the back a little bit. Give some space around the neck and shoulders. Palms face up. Relaxing the jaw as you perhaps part the lips. Maybe even moistening the lips a little bit with the tongue. Just letting go of any expectation on the breath. Just letting it happen naturally. If you need a blanket to cover yourself over, or a sweater that you have beside you, feel free to stay warm and comfortable. And as I leave you here in Shavasana this evening, Take your time to stay here for as long as you need to. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe. And until we see each other again, namaste.